Jessica, this is the happiest day of my life. Right up there with the day I bought my RV and insured it with Progressive. Man, I love that thing. There are a million fish in the sea, which I'm reminded of every time I bring my RV to the lake, but I vow to love and cherish you just as much as I cherish campsites with full electric and water hookups. I'm so sorry.
Protect your beloved with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1720, 3 Steps to Conquering People Problems, Part 2, by Seth Sinclair of Mehlberg.com. Hello, everybody, and thanks for making it back as we look to finish up the post we began yesterday. I'm your host and narrator, Greg Audino. I love the post we began from Seth Sinclair. A lot of great ideas so far, and of course, still to come. You will be a bit lost for sure if you skip only to this episode, so be sure to listen to yesterday's if you haven't yet, which is number 1719. But if you're all caught up, then let's keep on keeping on, see what else Seth has to say, and optimize your life. 3 Steps to Conquering People Problems, Part 2, by Seth Sinclair of Mehlberg.com. When a people problem sneaks up on us, we are not in our best position to be successful. You've got a much better chance to do well if you can spot the situation as it unfolds and catch yourself before your brain betrays you. Ask yourself, is there potential for disagreement? Are there important stakes? And are emotions involved? If the answer is yes to one or more of these questions, slow down and take a few moments to set a plan. Consider, what do I really want to get out of this? What is the ideal outcome? What might the other person want? What do we have in common? What things might set me off? What might be upsetting to them? Working through this step will help you overcome your initial emotional reaction, and it will help you to refocus on what is really important. Step 2. Once you're in a tough conversation, learn to pay attention to yourself. In Step 1, we made a conscious effort to be thoughtful and avoid an early emotional hijack. The goal of Step 2 is to build awareness of what is happening within ourselves during a conversation and to slow things down before we start engaging in self-defeating behaviors. Let's stick with our boss scenario. You've managed to collect and compose yourself before you head to his office. You ask him what's up. He proceeds to tell you that the work you've been doing over the past 2 weeks is all wrong and that you need to start from scratch. You are horrified by this suggestion. You completely disagree. At this point, your brain is not interested in understanding if your boss is right or wrong. It sees a tiger. This is a critical moment, and if you're not paying attention to what's happening, you can easily be overwhelmed. You may engage in 2 classic reactions. One is to shut down completely, roll your eyes and say, "Whatever you say." Another is to launch back with an attack and yell out, "What are you, insane? That's a stupid idea." Those reactions may feel justified in the moment, but neither are particularly helpful. In fact, they're both self-defeating and likely to make your situation more miserable. As with Step 1, the key here is to learn to be more conscious of what's happening in your mind and body. When you feel the hijack coming on, take a deep breath. Ask yourself again, what do I really need to accomplish? What is the bigger picture goal that is important? This will help you shake off an unhelpful reaction and replace it with one that is more thoughtful. For instance, I don't like the sound of having to redo all of that work, but I am curious to understand what's going on and see what solutions we can find. Here is an important point. Being thoughtful about how you react does not mean that you can never express your feelings. It just means that you are in control, that you're sharing your feelings without clamming up or exploding. There's nothing wrong with saying, "That suggestion is upsetting to me," or "I have to be honest, that idea is frustrating for me." Step 3. Seek to bring out the best in the other person. Once we become more aware of how our emotions can inform our reactions, it's easier to see when the same processes unfold in other people. Step 3 is making an effort to be more patient as we navigate an issue and looking for opportunities to help bring out a thoughtful response in the other person. Let's take one last look at the "our boss" scenario. You've managed to stay in control and put your best foot forward as this difficult situation unfolds. However, your boss's engine is still revving. He's just as upset about the prospect of rework as you are, and he's feeling a lot of pressure. you can see that he's in attack mode. Instead of getting drawn into a fight, it's time to show a little empathy, refocus on your shared interests, and offer a helping hand. You might say, I can see that you're upset. It's understandable considering the circumstances. How can we address this in a way that keeps the project on track? This approach does not guarantee that things will suddenly be rosy, but it does open up the door to conversation that may actually be productive. In summary, developing the skills to spot and address people problems will not happen overnight, but it's a critical, game-changing skill that is worth spending time and effort on. As you build your confidence and experience, you'll stop avoiding people problems and start handling them like a pro. Before you go, here are a few final thoughts to consider. Skillfully handling a problem or difficult conversation does not mean giving in or suppressing your emotions. It also doesn't mean that every conflict will have a happy ending. It does mean that you are being conscious about putting your best foot forward. When you feel an emotional hijack setting in, remember to ask the questions, what do I want to accomplish, and what shared interests am I seeking? This will help reclaim the thinking part of our brain. Look for solutions, not meaningless victories to prove a point. And these skills take time to develop. There are many resources out there that can help. I strongly suggest that you read Crucial Conversations. The authors dive much further into this subject and provide dozens of specific techniques on how to manage yourself and work with others. These concepts are also at the heart of emotional intelligence. Seek more training and coaching to make this stick. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled 3 Steps to Conquering People Problems by Seth Sinclair of michaelmehlberg.com. And a huge thank you to Seth for both parts 1 and 2 of this post. Some great ideas here, ideas that really transcend the self and help us to consider the needs and positions of others in a respectful and collaborative way, which is a really selfless approach to conflict resolution. It reminds me a lot of one of my girlfriend's favorite approaches to disagreements, and that is that it's you and me against the problem. She always falls back to that, and you don't have to be romantically linked with someone to maintain that idea. It further instills a sense of teamwork and togetherness with others. It makes it easier to trust those who we've let into our circles and not be overly protective of ourselves, to the point that others are kept on this impossibly short leash should they do something to upset us. This is the kind of leap that we really need to take to build better relationships, be they one-on-one, in corporate settings, or across much larger, even global scales. So, to first remove one's ego like this, yet still have enough self-respect to stand up for and assert ourselves, is a great balance, and I think Seth articulated it very nicely in this article. That is going to do it for now, though, everyone. I appreciate you stopping in and listening to both parts of this article. And if you do want more ORD today, then be sure to stick around for our weekly bonus episode, which is live now in your feed as well. I'll see you there, where your optimal life awaits.